Welcome to the Nightly Rant. I'm Mike.
And I'm Toria.
This is the show where we talk about the awful things that have happened in our day, the awesome things that have happened in our day,
and all the things in between.
Thanks for listening, and we truly hope you enjoy. Hey everyone, so for today's episode, we have a special throwback because something happened and we were unable to record an episode. And we want you to have an episode 5 days a week. So we hope you enjoy this special throwback episode that we have chosen for you. Thank God it's Friday.
I know. That's an understatement.
Right? I can't wait to have to truck kids around for the weekend, and I mean that sincerely.
It sounds so much calmer than what's been going on lately.
I know, right? It's nuts, but... So we went to Costco tonight.
Yep. We finally braved Costco. We've been putting it off since the 23rd of December.
Yeah, I can see why. We would have killed somebody and gone to jail had we gone.
You almost killed somebody today.
Yeah, they were pretty bad.
You got all intolerant.
Yeah, they were pretty bad there tonight.
But the best part of Costco is the food line.
Yeah.
They try to make you do like a snake line, but there's like 500 people, and it's just taped on the freaking ground.
Yeah, there's no rope. It's just tape, like yellow tape on the ground.
Snake tape.
So instead of having... snake tape. So instead of having the lines that they used to have where it was 1, 2, 3, 4, it's this one single line that snakes. And they feel like it makes it less crowded, but it actually makes it more crowded.
And nobody knows what line you're standing in.
Right.
Really, you're all in the same line. But because it was the other way for so long, and this is this place where people are super set in their ways, the line is always fucked.
Yeah, it was really crazy. But, that's not the craziest thing that I saw today.
What's the craziest thing you saw today?
So, this was the last day that I was working with Rich on that project.
Right.
And he asked me to go to Fountain Valley, which is about, for those of you who don't know, it's like 15, 20 minutes to the south of us. Okay. And he asked me to go there to this store to get him this special thin set that dries really quickly. And on the way back, I get off the freeway and I'm coming up Valley View, and I see this Chevy, I think they're called Eldorado. It looks like a car. It's a car, but it has a pickup truck bed in the back, okay? But it's not like, how a truck bed is like separate from the cab?
Yeah.
This isn't. It's all part of the same vehicle. There are no seams. I don't know if you've ever seen one, but they're really weird. And what I'll do, guys, is I'll look one up, and I'll put a picture in the show notes on the nightlyrant.wordpress.com.
The Chevrolet car truck?
Yeah, I'll put pictures up. But anyway, and there was 2 people in the car, and I noticed that the guy was holding his fingers in a rather interesting manner while holding the steering wheel. And as I got closer, I found out, as he took a hit, that he was smoking a joint and passing it back and forth. Now, I know California legalized marijuana, January 1st, blah, 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 blah. But you can't drive and smoke pot. You can't even have... They say they're making it so strict that you can't even have an open container of pot. Yeah. An open container of pot in your car. It has to be like in your trunk, out of reach.
The car you're talking about is in the 50 worst cars of all time.
Yeah, it was.
I just have to say that.
It was a piece of shit. I remember it. It was a real piece of shit. So, these people were blatantly violating the law.
Well, of course.
What do you think about that?
I think that they're lucky a police officer didn't see them.
Yeah.
And I think that it makes me feel a little bit terrified to be on the road now. Specifically, well, I think it'll just be for the next month or so that it'll be a little bit alarming because people are like going crazy with their newfound freedom. But then it'll calm down after a while. But it doesn't scare me any more than drunk drivers because, Same idea.
Well, that's the funny thing. Like, you took it earlier when I said this to you as though I was surprised. I wasn't surprised. I'm just amused by the fact that, like, before, there was a couple of very specific apartments that when you walked by them,
Right.
they always smelled like pot.
Right.
And then there's two nearby apartments that occasionally smell like pot.
Right.
And what's funny about that is that's pretty much, let's see, there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. There's 7 apartments between here and the elevator, not including ours.
Right.
And there's 4 of them that smell. There's 2 that smell like pot all the time, and there's 2 that smell like pot occasionally. So there's 4 out of the 7.
Okay.
So about 50-50. Okay?
Okay.
And then the same thing, like downstairs, none of those apartments ever smelled like pot that I could see, except once in a while the really crowded apartment. Okay?
Okay.
Have you smelled any pot on any other places other than the 4 plus the one downstairs?
There's some people on the second floor, like, below us, that I smell every once in a while when I go down the stairs. That's it.
Interesting. Okay, so there's probably others where I didn't think about the second floor because we never go there, really.
Right.
Have no reason to go there. Like, the first floor we cruise through there sometimes.
Right.
But what I find amusing is that since January 1st, I smell it in almost every apartment I walk by.
Right? It's everywhere. It's literally everywhere. The entire apartment building smells like weeds.
The marijuana users have come out in force since January 1st.
Yep.
Go them. It's just funny. I found it really amusing. But then,
I guess I can't say I blame them, though.
who here thinks, yeah, they got their freedom now, but see, who here thinks that Trump is waging war against California?
Well, I definitely think that. I said it earlier. I mean, you said it too. It's no coincidence that California, the state who has been opposing him and being super douchey in his general direction since he was elected, legalizes marijuana on January 1st, and then all of a sudden he goes back on one of his campaign things and says...
Yeah, and says, oh, we're going to enforce the
targeting.
marijuana laws and target the dispensaries and such.
Yep.
And then I was reading a thing, for those of you out there, that partake, you're going to want to know this. It says that more than likely the federal government will not actively pursue users because they're not going to waste precious prosecutor time on, getting a suspended, sentence. You can be on probation kind of a thing.
Right.
They're not going to waste their time on that. But they said that you need to make sure you're up on your state's laws and that you only have in your possession what you're legally allowed to have in your possession, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera, because there is the possibility of one day them deciding to completely crack down and having the DEA, raid a dispensary, and if you happen to be there, initially they're going to check you out. If you don't have anything on you, or if you were just buying from there, and it's within the state's legal limits, then they're going to let you go.
Okay.
But if they find out that you have, an ounce of this kind of flour and a half ounce of that kind of flour and a quarter ounce of that kind of flour, well, you're only allowed an ounce. So you're going to jail. That's what they're saying. You're going to federal jail. Whoops.
Yikes.
So just know the laws, be familiar with the laws, and then don't break them. That's all. That's the key.
Well, yeah, that's pretty much all you can do. You should probably do that anyway.
Well, right, but I'm just pointing out that,
Right.
that's really the only thing that a common user needs to worry about.
Right.
But, what do you think about that?
I think that it's crazy and ridiculous. For the federal government to be basically waging war on a state because their governor is a jack of all asses is
It's stupid.
asinine.
Yeah, I agree. And you want to know something interesting? So they were talking in this article about how the prosecutors in various areas are reacting to this. And Colorado's guy said, nah, we're not doing anything different than we've already been doing, so we're not going to change our rules. Then some guy down in San Diego, first of all, get this. Remember Parenthood?
Yeah.
What was the guy who was married to Christina? What was his name?
Adam
Adam what?
Braverman.
Well, the prosecutor quoted from down in San Diego in the U.S. Attorney's Office name was Adam Braverman.
What the hell?
I had to do that. I had to read that twice. Like, what? But it would have been funnier if he had been like in the Berkeley area.
That would have been funnier.
Then I really would have laughed.
But that's
like,
crazy.
Well, yeah, his name is Adam Braverman. I mean, it tripped me out. But he basically said that they were going to consult with other areas like Washington and Colorado and see what they're doing and perhaps follow the same suit. So if that's the case, California would be okay because the Colorado guy said he's leaving it alone.
Right.
And I personally think Sessions... Well, I'm going to ask you first before I say it, because I talk a lot lately and you don't talk enough, so I'm going to make you talk a little bit.
Well, you've been talking about you topics lately.
Tell me what... Hey guys, one thing I'll tell you, we always talk about what topics to have, and I just want to make a point because I didn't like that comment that she just made, and so I'm going to make the point that every single show I ask her what she wants to talk about, and every single show I get the answer that's typical of people in this household other than me and the dog. I don't know. I have no idea.
You're right. We tell you I don't know, and you, when asked a question like, what would you like for dinner? Food. So helpful.
But when you ask me where I want to go, I tell you. When you ask me, do I or do I not want to go swimming, I tell you. I don't care. I don't know. Anyway, what do you think the repercussions of this are going to be for the states, for the marijuana industry, for Jeff Sessions, for Trump, for the federal government? What do you think of all those things? What are the repercussions going to be?
Well, I have a question first. Which of the states that have legalized marijuana went Trump in the election?
I have no idea the answer to that question.
Well, I feel like, okay, I don't know if any of them did, but so I think that if any of them went Trump, they're going to be pissed off at him.
Yeah.
Because you're going back on a promise you made in your campaign. That's shitty. Don't do that. Okay. And then I feel like anybody who's invested in marijuana is going to be super uncertain for the next little while.
Yeah.
If there's stock prices, they're going to drop. All of that good stuff. Bad stuff.
The answer is, that's crazy. None of the states that
Florida
voted for Trump. Well, Florida only has medical marijuana, right?
No, it legalized recreational marijuana in the election, did it not?
I
And
think so.
Washington has legal
Washington
marijuana?
didn't vote for... Washington voted for Clinton.
I just wasn't sure.
That's interesting. So anyway, continue your thoughts.
I can't remember the other questions you asked me.
I asked you what you think is the repercussions
I
for
think-
that, for Jeff Sessions, for Trump.
I think that it's going to really... Okay, so when they legalized marijuana in Colorado, there was like this massive explosion of revenue for the state. I think that because of this, the revenue explosion will be much slower in California, because I feel like law-abiding citizens who would have smoked marijuana are going to be a little bit more afraid.
Hold on now. So you think they're actually going to make less money because of it? Not just...
I think that they're going to...
Not just grow slower percentage-wise.
No, I think there's going to be a short-term slowdown. Like, I feel like for the first 2 days of the year, people went pot crazy. They bought all of the marijuana that they could. People who wanted to. And so then I feel like now that this has come out, they're going to slow down because they don't want to get in any kind of trouble. That's what I think will happen. Feel free to disagree. I really don't care.
It's only for medical use in Florida.
Okay.
I goggled it.
Okay.
But see, so reiterate to me, what do you think is going to happen with Jeff Sessions? Like, is he going to have any repercussions from this?
I don't know who that is.
The Attorney General of the United States who announced this?
I don't really care if he has any repercussions.
I didn't ask you if you cared. I asked you if you thought there would be any.
For one, don't know what an Attorney General is or does.
He's the head instead of getting sassy with me, you could just ask the question. That would be nice. He is the head law enforcement officer in the country. He is the head over the Attorney General is like the Secretary of the Department of Justice. So he's the leader of the Department of Justice. So the FBI answers to him, etc.
Got it.
And the U.S. Attorney's Office answers to him, and they're the federal prosecutor. And they answer to him.
I have no idea if there'll be any repercussions for him.
I think that he was already on shaky ground to begin with because he's been caught in lies about certain things. I think he will be removed from office. I think he will be asked to resign or he'll be fired. Because I think there's going to be so much backlash about those comments because remember something. Trump doesn't like to be made to look bad.
Now he has a big old egg on his face.
And now he has egg on his face because he promised something. And see, everyone assumes that Jeff Sessions did this with the blessings of Donald Trump.
There's no guarantees of that.
But we don't know for sure that that's true. Even if Donald Trump says in an interview that he backs him, it doesn't mean he really backed him.
Right.
Because, I mean, and I'm not saying that because Trump lies. I'm saying that because that's what presidents do, is they say they don't give you all the info that they really have at their fingertips. They hold back. They play poker.
I looked up the states that legalized marijuana in the last election. For recreational use, and it was California, Massachusetts, Maine, and Nevada.
Okay.
I don't think any of those.
And none of those would have voted for Trump. None of those would have voted for Trump. So anyway, I think that I personally believe that Sessions did this on his own.
Okay.
And
you don't think this is a Trump thing?
No, I think he did it on his own, and I think because of that, though, it's Trump appointed the guy, so he's responsible for the decisions that he makes.
Right.
And I think that his people who voted for him, who this was an important issue to them, they are going to be pissed.
Right.
And then Trump doesn't want to look bad, so he's going to fire Sessions for making that and reverse the order later. And I actually think that ultimately this is going to force Congress to actually act. Because think about this, okay? In this country, like, okay, in Canada, what would you do as Canadian citizens if you wanted to change the law at the country level? What is that called? Federal?
Yeah.
Okay, at the federal level, I'm not sure what everybody calls it different things. One place it's imperial, Japan's imperial.
Interesting.
I think the answer is yes to this. Does each province have like its own sets of laws?
Yeah, it works exactly like it does here.
So each province is like a state.
Uh-huh.
Okay, so what would a province do if it wanted to, let's say, make pornography legal? Whatever. I don't know. That's a stupid one because it already is legal. I don't know. Just say
marijuana?
They want to make I wouldn't say marijuana because the country's going to make marijuana legal, so that'd be a stupid comparison. But what would they do if they wanted to make, like, widgets legal and they were illegal at the federal level? How would they get the federal government's attention? Like, what's the approach that you would use?
Call your representatives and harass them endlessly.
So you're saying that, and this is not a sarcastic or facetious question, I'm trying to get to a point. So you're saying that your government would care what the people think and could potentially be swayed to act on it based on what the people say?
I would think so.
Okay. Yeah, you'd expect that, right? Because it's a democracy of sorts. Okay.
And if they didn't, they wouldn't get reelected, I suppose.
Exactly. And they would elect someone who would act on it. So eventually it would be dealt with.
It may take 4 years, but it would work itself out.
But that's how people have their voice in a society like this, right? Okay. Well, I think that what's going to happen is that they're in a quandary. Okay, Congress is in a quandary. Who did you say just legalized marijuana? Maine,
Massachusetts,
Nevada,
and something
Nevada.
else. I can't remember the last one.
I don't remember the last one either. Maine, Massachusetts, Nevada,
California.
and California. Duh. Okay. And then there was already Colorado and Washington.
Yeah.
Okay, so now you have more than 10% of the states have legalized marijuana. More than 10% of the states.
Yeah, because that's 6.
And that doesn't include the states where medical marijuana is already legal. Okay?
Right.
So it's probably more like 20% would be my guess. Okay?
29 states and the District of Columbia currently have some laws broadly legalizing marijuana in some form, is the title of the article I was reading to find out what states have it.
And they duly...
That's more than half.
They voted on it? Yeah, they voted on it. How many?
More than half, 29.
Wow. So they voted on it. Mm-hmm. And yes to legalization won in all of those states. And here's the thing. From my understanding, in each of those elections, it wasn't even really close. It was like in the 60 to 40 range.
Right.
Like, that's not even close. Anyone that tries to tell me that's a close election is full of crap. Because that 20% is 1/3 of the total that they got. So they won by triple what the difference is between the two.
This map is funny because the
Yeah,
entire West Coast...
Talking about this map won't help our people. What's the
well,
website? Tell them the website.
I have no idea what the website is because it's got some stupid...
Well, what is the title of the thing? You can look up this. You can look up this map.
It's a map that shows the entire West Coast having legalized marijuana.
And it's called Governing. Just look that up with a map.
Matter?
Because I want people to be able to see it. That's why it matters.
Okay, then.
You're on a radio show and you're showing pictures.
Well, no, I was telling some people about a map. I figured that was okay.
Well, but how are they supposed to picture the map in their head?
I would think that people who are listening could picture a map of the United States.
I'm not sure of that. That's why they're listening to a podcast and not watching TV.
Uh-huh. Psycho.
Anyway, that's what I think is going to happen. Is they're in a quandary. How do you have such a large percentage of the country say, yeah, marijuana has benefits, and yet the damn federal government is like, nope, Schedule 1 drug, sorry.
Yeah. People are ridiculous.
So what's going to happen is, what do you think? The representatives are going to be told, hey, we legalized this stuff. You need to fight for us. And guess what?
You know what?
Guess what? They're going to have to.
And because it's more than half, if they did...
Yeah, they'd win.
I would think so.
Yeah, and I really think that in the next 5 to 10 years, that's what's going to happen.
Well,
and I also think more states next year are going to put a big FU to the federal government and legalize marijuana in their own states as well.
10 years would put them right on par with the same thing as they did with gay marriage, 10 years behind Canada.
Yep, and if you think about it, if you totally think about it, one of the reasons why the previous Attorney General backed down on this was because there just aren't the resources to prosecute this. So they just backed off of it.
Right.
Well, now they're thinking, okay, we have the resources in 29 states to crack down on it. Well, what if another 10 states do it? Pretty soon you don't have any resources. It gets too thin.
Yeah. Makes sense.
But what do you think will happen with Trump? Do you think this will cost him? Short term, depending on how he handles it. Yeah, I think it came at a good strategic time for him because it's at the end of his first year. That's funny thing is that's when Obama passed Obamacare. I think that for the next until he makes a decision on how he's going to handle it, he's going to look shitty. Yep. But as soon as he handles it, he will either look extra shitty by backing Crazy Pants. Yep. Or he will look back to normal. Crazy Pants. Yeah. Back to normal. I don't think he'll look good, but I think he'll look back to normal. That reminded me of something. So there was that crazy author that wrote a book where he interviewed people about Trump, and like Steve Bannon gave an interview and said crazy shit. Did you hear that the author put in a note that he doesn't know if any part of that book is actually true? That seems really, really fucked up. And he had interviewed Tony Blair, the British Prime Minister guy. Okay. And he put Tony Blair's comments about Trump in the book. Uh-huh. And Tony Blair said it was completely absurd that he has recordings of the interview. Smart guy to ask for recordings, right? I say that's
or take
brilliant.
his own recordings.
He has recordings of the interview, and to prove he never said any of the things that are on there.
Wow.
And he sent a cease and desist order.
Wow. That's crazy.
So now we don't have just fake news out there in the media, regular media. Now we have fake news in books too.
That's horrendous.
Well, and you want to know why I think fake news in books is far more dangerous than like fake news on CNN?
Long term.
Yeah. 10 years from now, that book could still be there.
Yep.
People are going to read it, and guess what they're not going to have in context of? What really happened.
Right.
But like, if CNN publishes some stupid story that's bogus,
it goes away.
It goes away.
An hour.
Yeah, it just goes away, and no one remembers it next year. So I don't know. I think that it's funny how the media jumped all over it, and it's further proof of collusion with Russia. Blah 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 blah. It's ridiculous, and it all turns out to be false.
I don't understand what the point is of publishing this false bullshit. Like, do you not know that you're going to get caught? Seriously.
Right? Well, and then to try and pass it off by saying, oh, well, I'm not sure. I put a note in the book that said I wasn't sure if...
You blatantly lied.
Yeah.
Let's be real here.
Exactly.
Come on now.
It's crazy.
People are freaking idiots.
It's totally crazy. Look at the dog sleeping. He's just like fast asleep.
He's dead.
Poor dead dog. And then... today, guys, Parker the cat, and by the way, he has an Instagram called very similarly Parker the cat. But Parker the cat was staring down Mitchell
because he wanted more beef.
He would not leave Mitchell alone. It was the funniest thing ever. That cat is cute.
More beef. That's
morbid?
What Parker was saying.
Morbid.
No, more beef.
Morbid.
You're morbid.
Yes, I am. You are right about that.
And more beef.
Anyway, goofball, what else do you want to talk about? You had a couple things you wanted to rant about, so...
No, I only wanted to rant about the stupid Costco line.
No.
And I successfully ranted about the Costco line.
I'm just going to say one word, Airbnb.
Oh! Patrick!
Dun, dun, dun! See, people? Sometimes you got a prodder.
I forgot about Patrick. I don't know how I forgot about Patrick. So this guy.
Not this guy.
Who has a name.
Some other this guy.
And his name is Patrick.
His name is Patrick. Not SpongeBob's Patrick either.
Well, he looked a little bit like SpongeBob's Patrick.
Wow, that's interesting.
Kind of a cone head. Anyway.
I like it.
Rents an Airbnb for 40 days. Call it 40 days. And he checks in.
Who does that? Okay.
Well, the minimum is 30, so they're long-term Airbnb rentals.
Okay.
Anyway, so he rents.
Didn't know there was such a thing, but okay.
Rents this Airbnb, and he gets there the first day. And this is the host's bad. His room was not tidy because one of the other tenants in the house is a jackass. Anyway, so then he switches to the other empty room in the house. It's all made up, no big deal. Well, so the next day we get all these nasty messages from him saying that there was crumbs on the kitchen counter. Well, keep in mind, 5 other people live in this house.
Right.
Crumbs on the kitchen counter. Somebody was on their phone later in the evening and it was keeping him awake. And there was something else that he was all butthurt about.
Okay, stop. I want to ask you a question. Did at any time anyone say to him, hey, there's 5 other people in the house. Why don't you find out who left those crumbs and go ask them politely not to do that anymore? Oh, and hey, if you know
Allow me to continue.
And hey, if you know who was on the phone, go talk to them and politely suggest that they be more quiet once everyone's asleep. Continue.
Well, if you'd hold on and allow me to continue, when he complained, that is exactly what said host said to him. It's a house with multiple other people. There's going to be messes once in a while. I suggest you just ask everybody to be a little bit cleaner. Roommate situation. Yeah. Don't be so passive-aggressive, you psycho. Anyway, so then, bro gets all butthurt and decides he's going to leave. Well, the cancellation policy of this host is you need to let him know at least 5 days before you check in that you're canceling, or you don't get a refund. 5 days. Now, He moved in. That's not 5 days. No refund for you, bro. No refund for you.
Yeah, and I don't understand why what follows happens, because if that was what he signed up for. But anyway.
So then he gets all crazy. The host tries to handle it. And eventually the guy, threatens that I'm gonna ask for a refund. You can't do this. And the host goes, okay, go for it. Whatever. You're not getting a refund. I'm not giving you a refund. You're crazy. You're the one who misunderstood the listing. You're crazy. Okay, so that's all well and good. Bro asks for his refund. The host contacts Airbnb, tells them the entire situation, and Airbnb threatens to deactivate his Airbnb account completely.
Which makes zero sense, since Airbnb allows the hosts
to set their own
cancellation policy. Because if they don't like that cancellation policy, they should have forced people to use theirs. Right. But that person, the guest, we'll call him, the tenant, that's a better word for it. The tenant knew what they were signing up for when they signed up for it. And I can tell you, because I just booked my second Airbnb, even though I'll only be staying at one. I just booked my second Airbnb, and it makes it very clear. First of all, Airbnb itself says every host has a different cancellation policy. Be sure to read the cancellation policy, because you will be held responsible for what's in it.
Okay, so this guy...
So did they hold him responsible? No. They're basically... But they didn't hold him responsible because they threatened to shut the other guy down.
So what they did...
Stupid idiots.
Hey,
dude that's on Shark Tank that invested in Airbnb. What the hell's his name?
I don't know.
That guy with the curly hair. If you're listening to my podcast right now, and I know you are, go fix that shit. That's stupid. Okay, you continue.
Anyway. Mr. Tangent over here. That's okay. So Airbnb threatens
It's my job to interject a little bit of humor while you're telling your story. So that's what I'm trying to do.
I'm going to poke you. So, you're holding it really close to my face.
That's what he said.
I'm offended. Stop it. You're making me forget where I was, butthead.
Airbnb threatened to shut down his account.
Okay, they threatened to shut down his Airbnb account unless he offered Crazy Pants the option to come back. So very reluctantly, host had me send him a very polite message telling him his room was made up for him and welcoming him to come back. And basically, I got told to fuck off.
Basically, yeah.
There was no basically. That's what was said. I was told to fuck off.
You didn't tell me that. I would have hunted this. I would have hunted this Patrick from Newport Beach down and taught him how to treat a woman.
He was more polite to me via Airbnb. The fuck off was said to the host over the phone.
Got it. Patrick from Newport Beach.
Anyway, okay, so then I contact Airbnb. They give me the runaround. And then, we can't continue the previous support ticket because it's already been handled. And I was like, nay. Either open the old one or make me a new one. This is crap. Why do I have to hold this room open for a bro who said these things and is never coming back?
I love when the business process gets in the way of real world.
So
we can't do that. Why can't you do that? Our computer won't let us do that. Yes, it will. You're the one who tells the computer what to do, not the other way around, moron. When have you seen a computer with a hand reaching out of it, guiding your hand on the mouse? I've never seen it personally, and I've been involved with computers for 30 years. Anyway, yeah, that's what I've said to people before, too.
So
I did on the phone one day. The lady told me, well, we can't do that. Our computer won't allow it. And I said, really? So the computer controls what happens, not you? You're not the one entering the data into the computer? Well, of course I am, but exactly. So your computer will do whatever you tell it to do. Thank you. Continue.
Anyway, so I got all irate with the Airbnb person. She probably didn't deserve it, but she deserved it at least 1%. And she eventually opened a new ticket for us and guaranteed me I'd hear back from her by Tuesday. I think it was Tuesday.
Okay.
I did not hear back from her on Tuesday. But then...
You know what you just reminded me of? I haven't heard back from UPS about that missing package.
You're going to have to give him a ring.
Yeah.
Anyway, so then we get some great news. Airbnb sided with us. Suck it, Patrick from Newport Beach.
Patrick from Newport Beach.
He didn't get his money back. He loses.
How much money did he lose?
$1,200.
Can you imagine people? First of all, did he try to say that he thought this was a single unit or something like that?
He thought it was an entire apartment, but if you look at the listing, it clearly says room, and then it says A7B.
What an idiot. Patrick from Newport Beach. That's who this idiot is. Patrick from Newport Beach. If you're Patrick from Newport Beach, send us an email at podcast@fitnessexpose.com. I want to have you on the show. Patrick from Newport Beach. So that's the whole story? You lost $1,200.
Yeah. But anyway.
What kind of moron does that?
I don't know. I really don't know. But the real moral of the story is people who choose to rent like long-term places from Airbnb, and really basically you get like you pay about the same as you'd pay for an apartment if you rented it through a leasing agency, but you can do shorter than 6-month terms.
Right.
So these people are crazy. Like, there was another Airbnb person who
Hold on. You did not finish your story.
Yes, I did.
No, you didn't.
How did I not finish my story?
That was the end. The story ends there. Nothing else happened.
Oh! No!
See, people, sometimes she needs to be prodded.
I'm going to punch you in the nose.
You do that nightly, so it
No, I
doesn't
don't.
change anything.
Don't lie to people.
Please call 911. No, I'm kidding.
I don't want to talk to you anymore. Anyway.
You're not talking to me. You're talking to them.
So these Airbnb... That's not what this is. This is us talking and people listening in.
Let's go.
Fascist.
I want to hear the rest of your story.
Okay. No. I have a segue first. Anyway, these Airbnb people are crazy. They leave negative reviews for not having enough towel racks. What? Why did we get a 1-star review? Because there wasn't enough towel racks to accommodate your 19,847 towels. Anyway, so Airbnb's big on reviews, right? Big on reviews. Sure. They mean everything on Airbnb. Airbnb sends us an email asking us if we'd like to
review Patrick from Newport Beach. I love it.
Yes. So
let me guess. Patrick got -5 stars.
I think if that would have been able to happen, that's what would have happened.
Curly red-haired dude on Shark Tank that I can't remember your name. You need to fix that too.
Facebook guy? Is that the one?
Not the Facebook
the
guy. Uber guy. Yeah.
His name's Chris.
Chris, get in there, dude, and fix it.
So we left him a hilarious review that ended with "Mwahaha." I'll leave it at that.
It was funny. It was very funny, but it was also very true, which made it even more funny because, you know, humor, they say, is usually like, you know, poking a little bit of fun at things that are true, and that's why people laugh, because they know it's true.
Right.
Well, this case, it was like doubly funny because the approach was funny, and then it was factual. Like, it wasn't even embellished. It was factual. I mean, if you told that story, in fact, I bet there's people out there right now that don't even believe that actually happened.
Probably.
But I mean, that's no different than, oh my gosh, you talk about crazy Airbnb. I mean, this is the last thing we'll talk about. Then we got a boogie. But we have a soccer tournament coming up. And we booked an Airbnb back in September. And my beautiful woman over here said, hey, when do they tell you, you know, having her Airbnb experience now, when do they tell you about accessing the place? And I said, well, he said about, you know, the day before. And she goes, oh, okay, well, you know, maybe you should check that. So I go in the app and I look, and our frickin' reservation was canceled. You heard me right. 10 days before we're supposed to be in Las Vegas, we find out our reservation is canceled. So we frantically book another reservation. And I'm going to be honest, when you asked about the early check-in, I was just going to say there's no way it'll happen. He was pretty well booked. But I thought, you know what, I'm going to write him anyway because I want to make sure we still have a booking.
Do you realize that if he's booked the day before, that we just barely got an Airbnb reservation.
Yeah.
Like,
well, with that guy. With that guy. There were tons of others.
All the other ones were exponentially more expensive than the one we booked.
There was one I was looking at. There was one that I was looking at that was like $49. Wasn't bad.
Oh, I filtered out the ones that were just rooms. And then it went...
It wasn't just a room.
There was the one we got. And
it wasn't just a room. It was a whole condo for $49.
What I saw
one
online
bedroom
was that one, the one that we booked. And then after that, they were like $99 a night for a condo.
I understand what you said. I grasp what you said. I'm telling you what I saw even today when I searched on Airbnb. Because Las Vegas seems one thing that they seem to be doing also.
I think they get lots of cancellations. So
but you want to know what else I find really intriguing?
What?
I figured out that places like MGM rent out some of their selected rooms, like their suites, as Airbnbs, and they charge less than the frickin' hotel rate. I would be effing pissed if I was a guest there and found that out.
It's just like, okay, so if there's a hotel room on floor 39 and a hotel room on floor 38, they're the exact same shape, they have the exact same furnishings, you can get one from Travelocity for $80 a night, and then if you booked it through the hotel, if you booked the other one through the hotel, you'd be paying $140 a night. Like, it's absolutely ridiculous.
Okay, but who's making the money off of that room?
What do you mean?
Because, okay, typically, Airbnb, they have people like your guy, that, and like the guy we're renting from, who you're renting from. And that person makes the money. And that person's the one who put the booking out there on Airbnb. Who puts the booking out for MGM? Is it MGM?
Probably.
Okay. So why does it behoove MGM to charge less for a room?
Because they're probably more expensive rooms, or they're hard to rent rooms.
So you're saying that you think it's one of those situations where better to have something coming in than nothing.
Yeah, it's why hotels rates are way lower on a Wednesday.
I would agree with that. It's kind of like what we were talking about when we were doing our strategic planning for our business.
Right.
That there's
less revenue in December.
Well, and how we talked about how we need to be able to be more agile with like billing rates and stuff like that in order to meet the customer where they are.
If you were to take a particular hotel and like watch their online rates, or even look at their different online rates on like hotels.com, and you'll see it'd be like $82 a night here, $98 a night here, $127 a night right here.
No, I understand.
So
but in those cases, it's because Expedia calls up MGM and says, I know that there's going to be a soccer tournament in town. I'm going to buy up 100 rooms at the $80 a night rate.
I understand.
And then
they
proceed to charge $90 a night for that room, even though the room's really $150 a night.
But the rate also changes. The rate also changes if you call the hotel asking them for the rate.
No, I know. Because it's more expensive. It's the most expensive when you call the hotel.
They have a rate, but they have a rate scale. Some nights their room is cheaper, some nights their room is more expensive.
Yeah, they do the same way people rent apartments. If it's notoriously empty, then they charge more. Lower. No, they charge more. If it's notoriously going to stay empty after you leave, they charge you more. That's not what I've seen, but I understand that's what they do with apartments. I don't know if that's what they do with hotels, because I think they just want to get them booked. But in any event, it's just interesting to me how all of that works. And what I also found interesting was the other night at the birthday dinner, the comments being made about that as though it was so definitely true. What she doesn't realize is Airbnb has won many lawsuits against many cities that have done the exact same thing. Right. And they will continue to win those lawsuits because I have a feeling, just my personal feeling, that the federal courts are going to say that what you do with your home that you own is your business. As long as you don't have an HOA. Right. Well, but see, here's the thing. If the HOA or condo board says that you're allowed to sublease the apartment to lease the apartment out, then you can do Airbnb all day long because that's what you're doing is leasing the apartment out.
I just know that there's lots of condo boards that don't allow leasing at all.
Yes, I know that. I know that. Yeah,
that's probably what happened to our original listing. He probably didn't know he wasn't allowed to lease.
Yeah, maybe. Anyway, so it's been an interesting conversation tonight. We talked about what did we open up with again? We talked about we talked about the crazy Costco line. We talked about the guy driving down the street smoking marijuana. We talked about Trump waging war on California. We talked about Jeff Sessions taking back we're not going to prosecute the marijuana that's legal in states. We talked about how Congress is going to have to act on that. Then we proceeded to talk about Patrick. Yeah, he was the next topic. And then we're here. So now we're leaving.
Good night, everyone. You know, it helps if you point the speaker at me.
What speaker? There's no speaker. Anyway.
Your phone's upside down.
Hasta la bye-bye. Hey, this is Mike, and I just wanted to tell you that if you enjoyed the show, and I truly hope you did, you can subscribe on iTunes or Google Play and not miss a single episode. But if you happened to miss an episode and you didn't find it on Google Play or iTunes for some reason, you could go to our website, which is thenightly.rant.wordpress.com.